Hey guys, Trail over at GOHUNT. I'm going to do a little 5-minute video and I'm going to dive into draw odds. If you're not aware, you're applying out west. Most of the western states allocate their permits through a state lottery through the Game and Fish Agency. So you end up applying, they're going to conduct a lottery, and some lucky applicants are going to actually draw permits. So that is primarily how most states allocate their hunting tags in the west. So draw odds and the odds of drawing any given hunt become super important in ensuring that you get a tag to go hunting in the fall. So if you're not aware and you're a GOHUNT insider, draw odds is a portion of your insider research platform. And I, for one, think the value in having draw odds is worth its weight in gold. Even if the platform was just draw odds, I still think it would be worth your membership because our odds are that good. They're that useful to making sure that you get a permit. So I'm going to do a quick little tutorial. I'm just going to kind of show you how I use draw odds. It recently came to light that I use our draw odds probably more than most people. I think a lot of people use the filtering portion of your insider platform and they try to use that to filter down, find some hunts. They might look at some odds. Typically what I do is I go to the standalone draw odds page and I enter the number of points that I have for the species I'm interested in. And I actually scroll down through the table and I look for the hunts that I can draw with my points. From that point, I actually start doing research on each individual unit. So then I'll go to the unit profiles. I'll use filtering to look at things like buck to doe ratios, harvest success, elevation, weather, all those things that are going to come into play when deciding what actual hunt to apply for. But first and foremost, I want to know the hunts that I can actually draw, and that's why I use our standalone draw odds a ton. So with that, I'm just going to show you real quickly how I use draw odds and maybe answer some common misconceptions about draw odds in the meantime. So I'm on my home page here. I'm going to click on draw odds. That's going to take me to the standalone draw odds page. It's going to show all the states that are available to you that you might want to research. For this example, I'm going to dive into Colorado. I'm going to talk about Colorado elk because that's a super popular species that most people are interested in. So I'm going to click on Colorado. I'm going to click on elk. And you can see that it's going to highlight and show me every hunt that I could apply for in the state for elk. And it's also going to highlight my point level. Now, 8 points is not my current point level in Colorado for elk, so don't get too excited. I used my points last year, but I'm just using that for this example. So as I scroll down through here, I can see odds at my point level. And as I'm looking down through that, what I'm looking for are hunts that are at my point level and then also potentially maybe 1 or 2 points less than what I currently have. So I want to look at the hunts that are at my point level, but I also want to look at hunts below my point level because I want to ensure the best chance that I can of actually drawing a permit. So I'm scrolling down through here and I'm looking. I can see that a lot of these hunts, you get down into this range, you have no chance, and that's because of how Colorado's draw system works, meaning that it's a true preference point state. So the applicants that apply for any given hunt are guaranteed the permits, the people with the most points. So below that point break level, you don't have any odds of drawing. So don't be the guy that applies in Colorado every year for a hunt that you have no chance of actually drawing because you just don't have enough points. You're just essentially wasting. Don't be that guy. Look for hunts if you want to go hunting that are at your point level or slightly below your point level. So be aware of that. So as you're looking down through here, you can kind of see some options. So here's a hunt that's actually fairly interesting to me. I can see that the odds were 100% at 8 points and 2.6% at 7 points. Here's another unit just below that where I have 18% odds at 6 points. 100% odds at my current point level of 8 points. So that's a unit that I'm definitely interested in exploring. So the next step that I would give you is click on the actual hunt that you're interested in. So for example, I'm going to click on this unit 6984 archery tag, and that's going to bring up what I call the detailed draw odds page for that hunt. Now every hunt in every state for every species has a detailed draw odds page. And what that's going to give you is it's going to give you data over 5 years. So you're able to look at data, the number of people that applied each year at each point level for the last 5 years, the number of tags allocated at each point level for 5 years, the draw odds for each 5 years. Why that's important is because trends are important in draw odds. You want to look to see where people are applying with how many points and how many permits are being allocated at each point level. Now, the reason that these detailed draw odds pages are really important is because draw odds are not predictive. So the odds that you are looking at right now are based off of known data, which was from the last draw. So the odds that are live on your insider account that say updated for 2025, those odds depict what happened in the draw in 2024. They're not predicting odds for 2025. And the reason they're not predicting odds is because you can't predict odds. I can't predict where people are going to apply and with how many points. So every year we get emails. Hey, you said that I had 100% odds at 8 points or 7 points, and I didn't draw this year. Why didn't I draw? Well, you're looking at a year-old data. We can't predict the odds. And essentially what happens in some occasions is you get point creep. So you get people that jump in to this unit that have more points than you did. So they take one of your permits. And essentially you've got more people applying with more points than there are actually tags, and it can, in some cases, take one additional point every single year to draw that hunt. So what you want to do is you want to be aware of point creep, and that's why these detailed draw odds pages come in really handy. What I typically like to do when I'm evaluating a hunt is I like to scroll down and I like to look at tags drawn. So I want to see how many tags were allocated over the last 5 years at each point level. So what I'll do, in this case, I can see, one permit with 13 points, 5 at 9 points. I can see that 5 were drawn at 8 points. And I like to look to see how many permits are typically allocated above the point break level. And if I average those out, that's going to give me an idea of how many people are likely to jump in to this hunt and apply for it and take a certain number of permits off the top before I'm actually even considered, because I'm in this point group down here with the 8 point level. So that's something you want to be aware of. You want to see how many permits are being taken by how many people that are actually jumping into this hunt. And again, it's not perfect because I can't predict, but I can get a pretty decent idea by looking at historical data. The other thing that you want to do is you want to see how many people were allocated permits at your point level. So for example, I can see there were 6 applicants and 5 of them were allocated permits. So that means that this year there's likely to be one person rolling in to this exact same hunt that they'll apply for with 9 points. So they're going to take one of those permits. I can also see that there are 8 people with 7 points that if they apply for this same hunt that may roll into this draw that now have 8 points. So I can kind of start to gauge based on how many people are applying at what point level are going to take up permits. So I can start to look at things like tag numbers, the number of tags that are allocated. And if I start comparing all these statistics, if I start looking at the number of permits allocated, the number of people at each point level, the number of people that typically jump into this unit that have more points than I do and take permits, I can actually get a pretty good predictive idea of what my odds are of drawing this hunt. So that would be my advice to you. For all the hunts that you're considered, make sure that you dip into the individual detailed draw odds pages for those hunts and really evaluate, pick apart the numbers, look at the historical data. The other thing I would tell you is when you're looking at odds, I think it makes really good sense if you want to draw a tag to look at the odds at a point total 1 less or 2 less than you currently have, because you have to assume that you have all those people that didn't draw rolling in one more year with 1 additional point. Point creep happens in a lot of cases throughout the West. So I definitely would be looking at those hunts if you want to draw below your point level, maybe a couple, because you want to make the most of your points as well. So be aware of that. Also dive into the application strategy articles. We're going to talk about bonus points, preference points. We're going to talk about draw odds and really pick apart the intricacies of each individual state and draw. There's a little tutorial for you on draw odds. I think you need to spend a lot more time looking at draw odds. I think if you do, you can pretty well guarantee yourself a permit in one of the Western states every single year, especially for deer, elk, and antelope. So spend some time looking at draw odds. I think it's going to make a big difference for you drawing permits for this coming fall. Good luck to you guys. I hope that you all have good luck in the draws, and I'm really stoked to hear what you guys come up with for hunting in the fall. It's It's one of my very favorite times of the year, so apply and good luck.